Today I'm wearing my I'm Positive shirt because today we're going to be talking about science. I originally wanted to make this video as sort of a wake-up call to friends because of this topic of today's video.
Compulsive overexercising.
So this friend of mine has experienced an injury that the pronoun I'm going to use because that is the grammatically correct gender-neutral pronoun, and also because this friend is male, he has sustained an injury and had not been willing to let it heal instead of running by excessive biking and finding other activities that have not helped his injury heal. This led to a question. Why is it so hard for some people to not stop exercising when the majority of people would much rather rest than exercise? Well, you have this thing called compulsive overexercising. But more helpful than reading an article online, I thought it would be best to share my story. I started running
no longer just for fun and games like tag and hide and seek.
By the time I was in 5th grade, because in 5th grade there was this fitness test which included the mile run, and I wanted to get a good time. I didn't want to get the best time, I just wanted to get a passing time. So every day after school I would run around the grass, and lo and behold, my mile time was 6:59 in 5th grade.
Which eventually my sister beat.
Also, slightly unrelated, in 5th grade, I worked really hard on my push-ups too, and I was able to get 20 push-ups in 5th grade.
And then my sister surpassed me with like 30 push-ups or something like that.
After I passed the fitness test, and all my friends were like, "Oh my goodness, you're so athletic."
Before, I had not considered myself athletic.
But that fitness test was slightly a turning point when I realized,
Okay, I'm athletic.
But I'm fit.
For middle school, I was homeschooled. One of the activities I had to do for PE was either running, walking, or swimming. So I decided to run a mile. And I did not try to work harder than a high 7-minute time, a low 8-minute time. For PE, it was required that I would work up from 1 mile to 1.5 miles to 2 miles. I was getting high 17 minutes, low 18 minutes on a good day. I really did not enjoy running. And then I got this bad boy right here.
no, don't worry, this is not a commercial.
I started listening to music while I was running, and immediately my mile times decreased by minutes. I was getting 15-minute times, then very quickly 14-minute times, then low 13-minute times. Occasionally I would break 13 minutes. I suddenly realized
I was actually fast.
and then I worked up to 3 miles the following year. So by the time I went back to public school and high school, I was running 3 miles every morning. And in PE, I discovered that I was faster than any other girl in my PE class. So my PE teacher noticed there was something a little different about me. He noticed I actually worked hard in PE.
And I was a girl.
He recommended that I join the track team, the cross-country team, and I didn't really want to because I knew in the back of my head this would increase the pressure on me, and I would suddenly hate running because it would become a chore and a competition. But eventually, peer pressure, or I guess teacher pressure got to me, and I joined cross-country the following year. And I'd have to say, if I could go back in time and do it again, I think I would. I made a lot of new friends in cross-country, had a lot of great memories, but my stress increased exponentially. I almost immediately made girls varsity as a sophomore, and I was faster than almost every other girl in our league. My running in the morning increased from 3 miles to 4 miles, and then later in the afternoon I would be running up to 8 miles in cross country. And this was just on a daily basis. And combined with bad shoes and combined with poor running form, imagine these are feet. Super pronating is when you run like this, led to shin splints. And my dad, when he noticed I was limping, he was
Like, you know what, tomorrow, you're not gonna run.
and I cried for an hour that night. That was red flag number 1. For the next few days, I couldn't run. As soon as I was allowed to run, I was sprinting again. I was running up to 12 miles a day again. And lo and behold, I re-injured myself. I took a week and a half off.
It was torture.
Watching all my friends go to cross country and I couldn't join them because I was injured. And then I got back into it. And then, I guess, the battle between my brain and my body, that sounds so weird. my body won, and it was like, I'm not gonna run in the final race this year.
So shut up, head.
I took a break for about a month. I didn't run, and I missed the final race. And then I started running again. I think that was the best decision, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
Other than becoming a Christian.
And sharing the gospel and getting baptized.
It wasn't the exercises to strengthen my knees and my hips. It wasn't the compression socks. It was
Rest.
And now I'm back to running again, and I'm getting even faster than I was before. On a slightly related note, I don't know if anyone of you was interested about the whole push-ups thing, but I also increased my push-ups.
I do push-ups every night. I'm not gonna tell you how many I do because you're gonna get concerned.
Last year, I got a wrist injury and I couldn't do push-ups. But honestly, since I had already had that shin splint injury and I knew that resting was the best way to get back into doing push-ups, I sort of took it as like, yes, a break. I don't have to do push-ups every night.
Because I'm gonna jump.
Now I'm doing push-ups again, but occasionally when I feel that pain in my wrist, I know immediately, just take a break. Take a break for a week as soon as you feel a little bit of pain, and it'll be fine by the next week. This is what a compulsive overexercising disorder looks like, but what is it? Why do some people
What's wrong with humanity?
It's somewhat linked to an eating disorder and OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder.
But it doesn't have to be.
Exercising is a way to lose weight and maintain a low weight. If you miss an exercise workout, it's equated a lot with body image. I would say for myself, to a certain extent, my compulsive running may be somewhat linked to body image because I don't want to lose weight, but I don't really want to gain weight. I mean, I don't really know how else to put it. It's a lot of people can relate. It doesn't feel good to know that you have numbers added to it.
Well, for most of us.
To a certain extent, I have avoided eating desserts, and it used to be because of health.
Goodness gracious.
Health class was a thing in of itself. So for our nutrition unit, our teacher and the articles we read put a heavy emphasis on not eating junk food or eating anything with sugar in it, because I think it was designed for people who could stand to lose a few pounds, which I felt like was not for the majority of my classmates and definitely not for me. We watched videos that stressed the importance of counting calories, making sure you exercise all the calories off that you ate. And while that's good for somebody who needs to be dieting,
Guys, I accidentally said dying. I meant dieting. I'm sorry.
it's not really good for growing teens to be nervous about gaining weight. It's healthy for a teen to gain weight because teens are growing and they should be gaining weight as they are gaining height. Now, I'm not gaining height, which contributed to my not wanting to gain weight. This also idea of, eating healthy, just the anxiety that our health class taught us, it would probably contribute to this thing called
Orthorexia.
So, anorexia is like not eating. Orthorexia is like correct eating, which is a condition where you are literally scared of eating processed, manufactured, unhealthy food. To an extent, there is a healthy awareness of not eating junk food on a regular basis.
But you shouldn't be afraid of what you eat.
There's just so much processed food in America. It's more expensive to eat correctly. I'm not saying that we shouldn't eat healthy. I'm just saying there's a difference between healthy eating and orthorexia. So we've seen how it's somewhat linked to an eating disorder. People with anorexia or bulimia,
If you don't know what those are, look them up yourself.
I'm not your personal dictionary.
they are 3.7 times more likely than normal people to overexercise. Another thing that it's equated with is OCD. The best way I can put it is it's having these anxieties that can be fixed with repetitive rituals. So this idea where I'm having a good day because I ran 4 miles this morning, therefore I should run 4 miles every day. Or getting a really good 4-mile time, or my whole day is ruined after a run because I've gotten a bad time, it's still worth it to run those 4 miles every single morning so that I could potentially get a decent time.
That's totally not me.
It doesn't really matter whether you gain weight or not. It just, you have to run 4 miles and you have to get a good time. It doesn't have to be 4 miles. Exercising in general. Now, for my friend, who I particularly addressed at the beginning, I don't think it's really linked to OCD or an eating disorder. At least not that I know of. We haven't, discussed feelings all that much. I think it's more of this mental thing connected to self-adequacy. The fact that he's injured and watching people around us exercise, he does not feel adequate with himself because he's not exercising, and he knows on a good day, if he's not injured, he can totally exercise as much as us and even surpass us. So to not be able to do that is really distressing for him. Now he's pretty good in getting things under control, but I think a big contributor to this is this thing called Strava.
Strava mean the thing contributing to his distress, not actually his recovery.
It's a running app, or an exercising app that monitors the distance you run, the speed at which you run, the route you're doing, and compares it with other people. Now, you don't have to compare it with other people. You don't have to follow anybody. I think Strava is more of an effective thing if you're doing it on your own, but especially what he's doing, following a bunch of other people, he's seeing their distances and their times, and he feels like he needs to do that too, to have some sort of self-worth. So I'm not saying Strava is a bad thing, but I'm saying that a lot of people who use Strava eventually become addicted to exercise because there's a sense of competition to become faster or to run more. And I'm using words like run because it's often equated with running. See, the difference between running and, say, basketball or soccer is, basketball or soccer is a game. You play with other people, it's a social thing.
No one really cares about a ball that much.
But it's just sort of, fun to engage and have this competition where you're working together towards a goal.
I just want to butt in a moment to say that I actually did have an addiction to playing basketball for a while, but it wasn't so much of a game as it was a solitary routine of shooting baskets and layups.
Probably the most you do with running is try to get a better time. Competitive running is trying to beat your time and beat other people's times. And that has a lot to do with self-worth, especially because it's completely relying on you. Whereas soccer and basketball, while there may be best players on the team, it's really a group effort. I feel like I maybe should address some effects of compulsive overexercising so that you,
My little over-exercising familia.
don't do it. So, one of them is heart disease.
Does that even make sense? Don't you get heart disease if you don't exercise?
Well, obviously, if you have common sense, you'll understand that there's a balance between not exercising and exercising too much. Back pain, knee pain, shin splints, which was what I had, reproductive issues, such as, loss of menstruation. I'm just gonna be really real with you.
You don't even know how old I am.
But I've never done it once.
And I think that's 100% related to running.
Too much.
And you better believe me, if that's what it takes to not get it, I'm gonna keep running.
Also, if you do not eat enough and you run too much, it will stunt your growth. I have not grown since 7th grade.
But for all you know, I may still be in 7th grade, haha.
How and why I overcame my overexercising. I think to an extent it's still there, but I'd like to think that it doesn't rule me as much. Yes, I do keep my rituals, but I don't let it rule me. As a Christian, if I am letting exercise rule me, I know, to an extent it's a mental thing. For certain people, it's just harder because you mentally feel the need to exercise more. But I don't have to listen to my brain. I can choose not to exercise.
As much.
The Bible says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." And that basically says, if anything, running, my own physical appearance, gets in the way of God, that is sin, and that is hindering my relationship with God. And I can't grow in Christ as long as I'm keeping exercising my God. That is my drive to overcome this overexercising more than anything else, because I love God and He is the reason I'm everything I am. It is disrespectful and selfish of me to not venerate Him for that. The treatment. Well, you gotta start with the source. It's not in your body, it's in your brain. You people of OCD, anxiety, depression, autism,
Schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, eating disorder, ADHD. I don't know why I couldn't think of anything else.
you know more than anything that your brain is probably the biggest enemy you'll ever have to face. More than bullies, more than even your parents, because your brain is with you 24/7. If you choose not to listen to your brain and not wash your hands at a certain number of times, not go on a run, not close that closet like so, your brain will haunt you all night by bullying you and self-deprecating you. But like all bullies, it's not as strong as you think. You can choose to ignore your brain by not adding those extra runs, not leaving your mirror open, for crying out loud.
Of course I'm gonna close my mirror tonight. Don't be ridiculous.
If it's keeping you awake at night, if it's bothering you throughout the day and preventing you from doing your homework, you've got to fill your brain with other activities. You want to do something that's physically demanding. If you're not able to run, I would say it's healthy to be focusing on other parts of your body by like stretching, workouts for like your hips or knees or ankles. That gets in those minutes of exercise, but that doesn't strain your muscles as much. So that would be what I would call shifting attention, replacing it, distracting yourself. Also, distract yourself with other activities. Not only do I enjoy running, I also enjoy drawing, I enjoy reading, I enjoy making videos. That is something else I can do to fill my mind so that I'm not just listening to my brain, self-deprecating myself. Another thing is, if you know you like Strava or Map My Run is a temptation, delete it off your phone, turn off your notifications, ignore your notifications, whatever it takes to heal your injury and to make sure your exercise doesn't rule you.